If you have been following the buzz, then you should know that at this point, Black Panther has had a huge opening and is receiving praise all around from critics and fans alike. Not only is the latest entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe being seen as a great film overall, but as a significant milestone for the Black community as well. Having watched the movie myself, I can agree that the film is great and is definitely something I recommend watching. However, while I could just mimic all the hype and just tell you to go watch it, you know how I do things. So let me take it a step farther than that and talk about what I think the movie does well and why it could be worth your time. First, let's discuss the premise. Taking place shortly after the events of Captain America's Civil War, Black Panther is all about Prince T'Challa trying to fit into his new role as the king and protector of Wakanda. Whether attending traditional ceremonies with ritualistic combat, going on spiritual journeys to the ancestral plane, or simply discussing the future of Wakanda with his advisors, T'Challa significantly looks up to his late father and wants to be as great of a king as he was. However, as if being king and protecting his people wasn't difficult enough, T'Challa is truly tested when he's drawn into a conflict with the radical Kilmonger, a foe that puts the fate of Wakanda and the entire world at risk. Not only that, but when some of the wrongdoings of his father come to light, T'Challa will have to bring forth all the courage he has to do the right thing and be one worthy of the Black Panther name. So, what does the movie do right? Allow me to list the things off. First is the wonderful acting from the cast. Featured an all-star cast, I feel that the actors did a great job as their respective characters and bringing them to life. I especially want to give props to the two leads, as Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan did a great job portraying these larger-than-life figures, I think. Second, the responsibility T'Challa must face as both a hero and leader of his people was awe-inspiring. The best superhero movies are the ones in which we have less focus on the super part and more on the being a hero part, which T'Challa does indeed have to do during the process of the film. And while the tale of his son taking his father's place and coming to terms with how his father was less than perfect is not at all an original idea, the movie still finds a way to make the idea feel fresh, you know? Third, the way the movie finds a cool way to mix traditional African aesthetic with sci-fi technology is fantastic. I mean, the movie opens with a storybook-like sequence in which we are told the ancient origins of Wakanda and the Black Panther mantle, but also learn that due to rich vibranium resources, Wakanda is the most technologically advanced nation on the planet. Then, the movie proceeds to show us what a society with this balance of old and new would look like. For instance, while T'Challa is now gonna engage in a ritual in which everyone is covered in ceremonial paint, he is being dropped off at the cliffside in a spaceship-looking vehicle. And while sure, T'Challa's friend Wakabi may be dressed in traditional garbs and taking care of rhinos and huts, that doesn't stop him from also sporting a high-tech, hologram-like communicator. Trust me, it may sound weird, but watching this creative blend was something I truly enjoyed. Finally, it really helps that the movie has one of the best villains since maybe Loki back in the first Avengers movie. Erik Kilmonger is physically intimidating, a calculating strategist, and he's not totally wrong in his beliefs. He sees himself as the hero of his own story, and when you see where he is coming from and what he has dealt with compared to the more sheltered protagonist, you can't help but sympathize with him a bit. Of course, his way of trying to accomplish his goals is wrong, which is what makes him the villain, but similar to that relationship between Magneto and Professor X, it's interesting to see how Killmonger and T'Challa basically make up different sides of the same coin. With that being said, however, this does bring me to an issue I had, which is that Killmonger is great in the movie, but only when he's allowed to show up. I mean, we see him show up in the beginning and do something, then proceed to disappear for quite a while. I'm talking like an hour maybe that he's gone. I mean, it was long enough that I think it made me go, oh right, wonder where he's been. Now, it's not necessarily a deal breaker, I think, because it could be attributed to him pulling some strings behind the scenes or whatever, but it did feel a bit weird to me nonetheless. Another issue that I didn't personally have, but I've heard some people online discuss, is the CGI. I'm no expert in CGI, and to me things looked fine, but I know some people talked about some scenes looking unfinished or others looking weird when they take place in the dark, so while I don't have much to say about this, I thought I'd throw that out there for anyone who pays attention to that kind of thing. And finally, if you're the kind of person who just wants to watch explosions and crazy fights, then this movie might disappoint you, as it's not that kind of movie. Don't get me wrong, the movie has some really cool fights and action scenes, but at the same time, this is very much a movie that focuses on the characters in a Shakespearean way, focusing on their motivations and inner workings, you know? So if you hate all that, don't say I didn't warn you. In the end, Black Panther is a wonderful movie that is not only a lot of fun to watch, but also has a lot to say. Already important to a lot of people, I'd like to see the movie do well, and recommend it to anyone who doesn't see any of the flaws I mentioned earlier as a deal breaker. Even if this movie isn't your favorite, I think you'll still have as much of a good time with it as with any of the other Marvel movies, and that's pretty good in my book. But hey, that's just my opinion. And remember, don't take anything I say too seriously. After all, I'm just a wannabe reviewer. Thanks for watching.